Aloha, you are watching Living Delicious with Helena, a show where all the crazy, wonderful, and deadly things are possible. Today we are not having a deadly thing, we are not talking about death, delicious dying, we are talking about delicious living. And our guest is a fun employed attorney, Mr. Ethan Okura. Welcome to the show, Ethan.
Thank you, Helena.
Well, my first question for you personally is, what does fun employed attorney do?
Well, I think that the public generally has an idea of attorneys as
Yes.
boring
Yes.
or serious,
Or deceiving?
perhaps, personality types that definitely not associated with the word fun.
Exactly.
And my first 3 years of practicing law, I was in New York City at a very large law firm, and my experience was not very fun. So I moved back home to Hawaii and decided to make my career and my life a lot more fun. So a fun employed attorney lives deliciously in his work and play.
But are you still being an attorney? In a way, like attorneys are serious and misleading and all of these other things that public, I'm not judging attorneys, please forgive me, people who are attorneys. Just, are you still being an attorney, or you're just having fun?
I am an attorney. I am practicing as an attorney for my job. And interesting, you should mention that attorneys are misleading. What I do is primarily estate planning.
Yes.
So I help people plan on how to pass their assets to the next generation.
Oh, now
And-
we're going to talk about that.
And I'm not going to court. So I don't have someone to fight with. I don't have to deceive or try to mislead people at all. All I do is explain the law for people in a way to help them get what they want out of the situation.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. So if we can go a little bit more to the fun part.
Okay.
Are we going to go to New York, or we are going to go at your beginnings? Where did you begin?
I grew up in Hilo on the Big Island, and I was raised there.
So a little boy from Hilo. How many? Hilo is inhabited with how many people?
About 40,000 people,
And New York.
11 million, something like that.
So how does a boy from Hilo goes to New York?
I went to New York first to go to law school.
And before that, have you ever been to mainland, or how does
had.
it ever?
I went to university on the mainland, my undergraduate, and then from there I went to law school in New York City.
So you went to Columbia.
I went to Columbia University.
So how does a boy from Hilo go to Columbia?
Really good test-taking skills on the LSAT, the law school entrance exam, and a little bit of luck, some hard work in undergraduate.
I see. Okay, so because this show is usually, I want to inspire people to believe in themselves, to see what's possible. And you are an example of somebody who I'm inspired by.
Thank you.
Yes, I love when you talk about your life, your beginnings, and where you are now. It's very unusual, and maybe not, it's maybe counterintuitive that somebody can do that. Can you tell us a little bit about the childhood?
Sure.
And how does it look like to grow up in Hilo?
Great. Yeah.
Yes.
So growing up in Hilo was kind of a unique experience.
Yes.
Most of my summer days were spent playing at the river or running through the sugarcane fields.
In the rain.
In the rain a lot. Yes, it rains a lot in Hilo.
Yeah.
So it was outdoors. It was kind of, I guess for Honolulu people, it would be considered country.
Very much. Yes.
Whereas I thought I lived in the city because I lived right in Hilo instead of outside of Hilo. And so the focus was more on just having fun, playing, living outdoors. And
And you went to public school?
I went to public school. I went to Hilo Union Elementary, Hilo Intermediate, and then Hilo High School, all on the same street, about a mile from each other.
So isn't education, Hawaii, as a whole state of Hawaii, is known as a poor education? Then even Hilo then is even worse in some way.
I think generally the performance of students in public schools in Hawaii hasn't historically been really good. But they also had a lot of great programs, what they called the GT, or Gifted and Talented program, or the advanced placement classes, or the honors classes. In my schools, they had an opportunity for students who wanted to work hard, who wanted to do well, that they could actually study advanced topics and move ahead and take classes to get college credit in high school.
Was that equivalent to the standards of mainland, or it was below that standard?
You know, throughout the mainland, there's all different standards as well.
Yes.
But I think that the best classes that I took, I had some really fantastic teachers in the public school system, and they inspired me. They helped me to believe in myself. They helped prepare me for college and to have a goal to go to college.
Because actually, how many people in Hilo do really want to have a goal to go to college?
Right. I think half of the people that started in my freshman class in high school did not graduate from high school.
Did not even graduate from high school, 50%.
Probably about that.
And out of these 50 who did graduate, how many of them continue some other higher education?
I don't know the statistic on that.
What would you guess?
Probably
Most of them?
maybe 50 to 70% probably went on to college for some college or university.
And then few percentage of them completed?
And went on to graduate school. And I have classmates, a few that I'm still in touch with, who are practicing physicians or also attorneys or have other higher education.
From Hilo? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Also went with you to public school?
Yes.
We should have them on the show.
We should.
We should
A couple of them are still here in Hawaii.
Inspire people
Yeah.
to go and study and take care of themselves.
Yeah.
Wow. So, besides your education, how is the life in Hilo? You speak very nice English, but I also heard you speak Pidgin. So I know that the life is sometimes rough. So did you have easy path, or you had rough situations, or how was your?
I didn't have it so bad, although I will say that I was not a popular kid in school growing up.
Why not? You're smart, so people want to get, hey, can you do my homework?
They didn't care if they did their homework, a lot of them.
Oh.
So that wasn't cool. I didn't do my homework for the most part.
You did it in school.
No, sometimes I just didn't do it at all.
Why?
I wasn't
it's not
inspired to,
cool.
it wasn't cool, I was lazy. So when growing up, I had a path of just going to school. I had a couple of friends. I wanted to hang out with the cool kids, but I wasn't cool enough. I did get stuffed in the trash cans in my freshman year in high school because I was small and dorky.
You told me that once, and I just didn't say nothing back. But now I know we're on TV, but I want to know about that. How did they put you in a trash can? What happened?
I was a freshman.
Do you mind sharing that?
No, that's fine. Yeah, I was a freshman in high school, and I think it was recess. It was either recess or lunch break, one of the times between classes. I was 4'11" and a half and probably 95, 98 pounds, so I was small.
And that was at the age of 18?
14,
Or 14?
when I was a freshman in high school.
Freshman.
Yeah. And so I was little, but I wasn't very athletic, so I was a bookworm. I liked to read fun books, and I was kind of pudgy. So I was a chubby kid, I was dorky, and
you were not even 5 feet tall.
I was not even 5 feet tall.
Oh.
And so I had my backpack, and I was walking to class, and some senior kid just came with one of his friends, and they picked me up, dumped me headfirst into one of the trash cans, and pushed me in and walked away.
And what kind of trash can? Was it filled with trash?
Yeah, it wasn't wet, mushy trash, but it was filled with trash. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So the trash can, the big ones that...
Just
or-
the round, probably waist-high bins, maybe chest-high bins that were metal. Yeah.
But it was taller than you?
No, it wasn't taller than me.
But head first.
Head first, yeah.
God. Oh my God. How does that feel? That must be so...
You know, I haven't thought about it in a long time. At the time, I felt a little picked on, a little bullied.
A little?
A little, yeah. I mean, I think I just accepted it. I'm a dorky kid. These kinds of things happen.
Wow.
So...
And then did you ask somebody to help you? Did you?
No, I managed to crawl out on my own.
And then what did you do with the bullies?
Nothing.
So okay, let's stop here for the message for people.
Okay.
What would you recommend to children who are going through what you went through to do? What would you do today if you would have today's knowledge, today's experience, today's confidence? What would you have done? What can children do?
Yeah, I think what I would have done is told someone, told the teacher, told someone to have a conference to meet with the bullies, to talk to them so that they wouldn't do it to somebody else. At the
So
time,
they just got away with it?
Yeah, because being a tattletale wasn't cool either. So I wanted to be cool. I didn't want to be the tattletale, the snitch, to turn them in. You don't talk to the teachers or the authorities or the police or parents. You just deal with it with the kids.
But they were 2 and you are 1, and
they were seniors and I was a freshman.
Yes, and they were twice your size. And
yeah, and so my thought was, I'll just take it, and it didn't really bother me too much. I just felt like that was the way it was supposed to be. But I think some of what helped me was the idea that someday I'm going to accomplish something great. I'm going to leave this town and explore the world. I'm going to travel around. I'm going to learn new things, do good things, be successful. And that hope made it a lot more bearable too.
So if there is a child in this situation right now, and if they also don't want to be the snitch,
Yeah.
what would you recommend? To tell to who? How to start the process of humiliation and the experience of crawling out of the trash can and maybe smelling or maybe being dirty and feeling really awful, to the place of gracefully standing up for yourself?
I think at the time I was afraid of bigger or older or authoritative figures or people. And now I think that if I look back on it, if I went up and talked to them and said, hey guys, that was fun and all, but please, don't do that anymore.
Don't you think they would just grab you and throw you again?
Maybe. And yeah, I mean, I guess as an adult, it's hard to look back and think what would work, you know, because I'm guessing now a child in that position would not want to confront them. So, I mean, either they're going to tell a teacher or a principal or something, or just get a whole bunch of their band geek friends so they all stay together, and it's 10 to 2, maybe is easier not to get stuffed in the trash can. Yeah, I don't know.
Wow. So how did you know you were going to accomplish something? When did you know that? Being inspired in Hila not even to do your homework and not to finish the high school?
It started when I was pretty young. When I was maybe 13 or 14, 12 to 14, somewhere in that range, my dad shared a thought with me when I was upset. I'd gotten in a fight with my brother, my older brother, and of course, he was bigger and stronger and faster, and so he could, always win, yeah. Yes. So my brother and I had a little fight, and I was so frustrated and angry and upset and unhappy. And my father took me to the kitchen, and he said, you want me to teach you a secret that's worth more than $1 million? And of course, that caught my interest. As a 12, 13-year-old boy, I thought, $1 million? Okay, what's the secret? Yes. And he kind of dragged it out for a few minutes to really get me excited and interested. He says, this is worth more than $1 million. There are people who would pay for this. It's the secret to happiness. And so he says, the secret is, and then he sat me down and he had me take out a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle. And on the left side of the page, he had me write down all the feelings I was feeling. Upset, frustrated, angry. And he said, well, what else are negative feelings, even if you're not feeling it now? And I made a whole list of this. And he says, no.
General negative feelings or negative feelings that you are experiencing?
First, he had me write everything I was experiencing, and then he had me write other just negative feelings.
Okay.
And then he said on the other side of the page, he's like, okay, what's the opposite of that? Or what's some positive or feelings? And I went through happy and excited and loving or whatever. I made a list of those things. And he says, okay, here's the $1 million secret. The secret is you can choose your feelings. And it starts with your thoughts. And you don't have to be a slave to your feelings, but your feelings can be a slave to you. You can say, I'm going to choose to be happy no matter what the circumstances are, no matter what the world does to you.
Yeah. Because it's available. Happiness is available.
It's there, yeah. So he taught me that, and I was kind of still mad at my brother, of course, but that I still remember it to this day. It was really impactful to me, and so that struck a chord. And from that, I decided I have control over my happiness, my future, even if I can't control this very second. I'm going to get stuffed in a trash can, maybe. But in 10, 20 years, I'll be well educated, I'll have a great job, I'll be successful, and I can control the big picture, and my life will be happy.
But how can you control the big picture if they throw you in a trash can, if they beat you up, if you are so small, if you are so short, if you are blah, 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 blah?
Yeah.
Did you not have that misery feelings overpowering your desire for future?
Sometimes I was discouraged, mostly when I was fighting with my brother. But
I want to meet him.
He's great. He's actually, kids fight.
Yes,
but
of course.
This brother is so loving and kind and giving and.
Finally, he changed.
Yeah,
he realized.
Long ago, we worked that out. I better not mess
up with my brother anymore.
Oh no, yeah, he's great. But when I actually got stuffed in the trash can, I did not have feelings of misery. I just kind of thought, well, they're having fun doing it. Whatever, it's a fun little get stuffed in the trash can. Ha ha ha. It's going to make a great story to tell someday.
Oh, really? So you didn't feel defeated?
Not excessively, no. I mean, of course I was like, hey, stop, don't do this.
Yeah, okay. When you first told me that, I thought it was the big trash can, the trash containers.
No, not the bin.
And they closed the lid, and then now you're in the dark
Trapped.
with some cats, maybe. Or
that might have been worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. It was just a trash can, and they dumped me in it upside down, and I crawled out, and I was like, whatever. So someday I'll be out of this town, out of this school, and exploring the big world to do other things. So.
Because do you know there are people in Hilo who have never been to Kona?
Yes, yeah.
Never in their whole life?
Yeah, when I was growing up, I met someone, a grown man. My family was on vacation. We were in Waimea, which is in between Hilo and Kona.
Yes.
And there was a man there, and we were I think it was after the Space Shuttle Challenger, when the Space Shuttle blew up. And we were talking about this in the news. And so there was some man, probably in his late 40s. And my dad was talking about how, we had this space shuttle that was supposed to go out to space, and it blew up, and what a tragedy. And this man from Kona looked at him and said, oh, but how is space shuttle gonna break to the sky to get out to space? He actually thought that the sky was like a glass dome or something that you couldn't penetrate, because he just didn't know. And I think, not to put down, people who've been born and raised in smaller towns or
of course
local.
Not. That's why this show is to inspire them, not to put them down.
But I'm guessing he just didn't have much education, and that was his image of things. And I think being stuck in a small place, you're not exposed to a lot of ideas, a lot of people, and you can end up, you know, just not getting much of an education or having
Because
much
you could
experience.
have really given up. You had all the excuses possible to give up.
Yeah.
And why didn't you?
I think some of that is a bit of curiosity. I've always been quite curious. So when I went off to college, I started doing new activities, extracurricular activities, and wanted to learn to travel and learn new skills. And so there was always that spark of there's something new to learn, something new to gain, something fun to get out of it.
Okay, so if I think about your life, this is the picture I'm getting now. Small town, big brain, curious, alive, open. And then you go and become a lawyer.
What a waste, right?
I'm just like, I mean, you could have become something else. Why did you become a lawyer? Why a lawyer?
It was kind of an accident. Because I like so many things, when I was an undergraduate, I took a long time to decide on my major. It was my junior year before I finalized my major. And I started in engineering, then I changed to a computer science major, then I was majoring in Japanese, and then I finally settled on political science. And so all of my engineering and physics and calculus and computer science classes didn't help me for that major, and I had probably 50% more credits than I needed to when I graduated.
Wow.
But I just liked taking new classes and learning new things and different things. So I had a hard time just picking one thing to study. And when I graduated, I knew I wanted more education. In my family, my parents always said, you know, education is key, get higher education, study as much as you can. So I knew I wanted a degree beyond a bachelor's degree, but I didn't know what. And I thought, if I follow this path to a master's degree in something, it's going to be something really specific and narrow. And if I go further, it's going to be a PhD in something even narrower and more specific. And that didn't interest me. I like learning about a lot of different things. So I thought, well, what kind of general, and I wouldn't have been able to pick which major to go to for a master's or a focus. So I thought, gee, what other graduate options do I have? There's medical school, law school, business school, and I wasn't interested in medicine at all. I didn't have any prerequisites for pre-med. I knew that was a lot of studying, and I just didn't like the idea of guts and dissection and any of that stuff.
Bloody
Blood,
work.
yeah, no thanks. My stomach's not cut out for that. So that left me with law school and business school, and I thought, gee, business school is 2 years, law school's 3 years, I can just play and stay in school for another year before having to get a real job. I'll go to law school. And
So you didn't have a goal, I'm going to be a lawyer.
No.
You just wanted to play 1 year longer.
Kind of, yeah.
Wow.
And actually, even when I went to law school, you know, the counselors say, hey, you can do anything with a law degree. 1/3 of the producers in Hollywood have law degrees. You could be a film producer. A lot of guys go into business, they become entrepreneurs. They do a lot of different things having a law degree. It's a great background for a variety of different things. So I thought I would go into law school but not actually practice law. I knew I never wanted to go to the courtroom and litigate, and I don't like to fight. So that contention wasn't anything that I wanted to do. But I went to law school, and I got into a few schools, and I just accepted the highest ranked school I got into.
Why?
Top 5. Prestige, I think, for future business opportunities, you know, to say you went to an Ivy League law school. And also it was New York City, another place to have a lot of great fun. And I'd never lived there before and thought that would be fun.
Wow.
So.
Wow, okay, so we have to close the show now, but I want to have a second part of this show in which we will talk about your unusual activities. Can you give us a little tease of what, not unusual skills and activities? What can you do? Just name a few.
I have a lot of hobbies. Fencing, like sword fighting.
You make fences?
No, no. Not barbed wire fencing, but like Olympic sport fencing, sword fighting.
I'm kidding.
And
I'm being blonde.
yeah, of course. Dancing, a variety of
I
styles.
saw you dance on the street. You walk and dance.
You know, it's fun. Yeah.
It's like I'm looking at you thinking, is this guy attorney or what's going on in his mind?
Yeah, I love dancing, a variety of styles of dancing. I toured performing in a dance group.
How languages do you speak?
I speak a couple of languages, and I dabble in about 5 or 6 more. I like, a lot of that.
So I'd like to have a next show about dynamics of kind of juicing out the most delicious part of this attorney.
Okay.
So that people can really understand that it's okay to be yourself and also to get education and everything else. So stay tuned for the next segment of Living Delicious with Helena, where Mr. Attorney Ethan Okura will show you what else is possible. Ethan, thank you so much. Oh yes, and for the connection with the show, you can just call me if you need to connect with him or something, 2660717. Aloha.
Thanks, Helena.
Thank you. So you want to do the next?